Are you ready? Let's get started. Are you ready? Let's get started. Heaven high, everybody. So, we have been having all of these fabulous guests, and it's been wonderful. And I was so excited. I got on social media to talk about it. And I said, anyone who has had near-death experiences, reach out to me. And this young man said, I have had 14. And I was like, what? 14? Clutch the pearls. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, you didn't learn the lesson the first time. Because, we've learned about near-death experiences. And after one, sometimes two, people, they usually have a new experience. And so when I spoke with him in depth, I realized that he had different kinds of near-death experience. So it wasn't like he died and came back. He had a lot of moments where he felt like he should have died, like it should have been the end of his life. And we'll have him talk about some of these experiences. And I was thinking that maybe we will see what we can find in here, because just maybe God is trying to talk to him too. And maybe we will hear something that he didn't hear. So let's see what happens. Least of all, we'll have a good time. So get ready for Harold Bell. Yay, Harold Bell. I am so happy to have you on Heaven High Podcast today. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing better. I thought I had got COVID, but I didn't.
Well, you can't get COVID because you are the man that constantly survives.
Right.
How about that? So COVID can't happen. And I love that you have the T-shirt where it's like a lion. Arr! With your head, you're the lion, because that's the kind of strength that you have, or the kind of, what would we say, fortitude? Maybe so. So I told my people that we had a special guest today, because we've been having people who have had near-death experiences where they stop breathing, where they're labeled dead, where they're out, or people who have channeled folk through near-death experiences, or just so today we have someone that has had near-death experiences where you were close to death. For all intents and purposes, you should not be here, but you are. So yes. So do you remember the earliest experience that you had like this?
Well, my okay, so let me do a little bit of background. So I found my great-grandmother dead when I was 4 years old.
Wow.
That is something that has, I guess, probably be why I've been protected so long.
Yes.
So with that being said, I found her dead. So that was one of the first tragedies I could always remember, because I felt like I wanted to die too, because the whole experience was she went to take a nap and she told me to wake her up when we came back from the store, and I couldn't wake her up.
So wait, how old were you?
4.
You were 4. So little bit of you walked in, and did you try to shake her?
I'm nanny, because she told me she's going to cook dinner once we got back from the store. And so I went to go wake her up. I'm like, nanny. And so my mother was in the other room, and she heard me, and she goes, what's wrong? I said, nanny told me to wake her up, but she won't wake up. She's like, what are you talking about? So I'm like, nanny. So she comes over, and then she starts doing stuff, and she tells me to leave the room. And I'm like, why? I said, nanny told me. She's like, leave the room. I was like, no. She's like, get out of here. So, it's the tone when your mama gets you.
Yeah.
So she had that tone. And I'm like, but what I did is I went in the hallway and around the corner to see what was going on. I couldn't leave because I wanted to know what was going on with my grandmother. My grandmother told me to wake her up. I'm waking her up.
Right.
And next thing I know, within the next 10, 15 minutes, all hell broke loose. My grandmother showed up. It was all it was just it was a hot mess. But I remember that. I remember the funeral. I remember all that. So I've been praying since I was a very young age, and I was raised in church. But the funny thing about it is the church I was raised in, I did not like at all.
Okay.
Because I saw through him. God has given me a gift of discernment from a very young age, and I saw that he was not of God. And I did not like him. And so I used to go to the church, but I didn't like him. And then when I got to junior high school, he pulled a stunt, and then I just had to leave the church altogether. And I told my mother she needed to leave, and she eventually did. But I've always kind of just been able to, I know stuff without knowing it,
Mm-hmm.
experience things without experiencing it. And then I
Mm.
have experiences that 99.9% of people don't come out of without harm or dead or injured for
Wow.
life, or if it's not mentally elite. So it's just been weird. So I've almost been kidnapped 3 times. 3 times. Once in Mexico, twice in LA, on the same street by the same type of person. It was weird. So that was the first time I almost got kidnapped, I was 6. And we were in Mexico. If my mother had not came out because we're at a restaurant and she told me to wait at the thing so she could pay the check. She went to the bathroom and some lady comes in off the streets, ay, yo, mio, grabs me and a big lady, so she's taking me out the ring and I'm tussling with her like, let me go, let me go. She gets out the restaurant, she gets right to the corner. So it's like a restaurant like kind of in the middle of the street. So you could go either way. You know, the boxes are kind of short. So if my mother hadn't came out that restaurant in that nanosecond, I would have been gone. And I'd be Jorge Gomez to this day.
Jorge Gomez.
But my mother called her and she
That's
got
what I
the
would
beat
know.
down of life. My mother beat down. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. So then that was the very first time. Then there's, a couple of times by tow truck drivers. 2 tow truck drivers, same street, different week, same exact scenario, different person. So I think now looking back in retrospect, because I think I was 8 or 9.
Okay.
Then. Looking back in retrospect, we didn't even realize that kids were being snatched back in the day.
No, we did.
I think they were trying to snatch me. And I ran, and I made it home.
What happened with the truck driver?
They chased me down the street, drove. Only reason I got away is because where we used to live, there's an overpass that goes over the freeway and you can't drive over. You can only walk over.
Wow.
So I got to that point and I ran across the freeway thing so they couldn't get me twice. Same exact street, same exact road I ran to get away. Same exact thing.
Wow.
And so if I had got, who knows where I'd be now if I got a kidnapped.
I'm curious too. I wonder how many kids got kidnapped on that street.
A lot, because I'm gonna tell you, it's Figueroa, and it was like in the between El Segundo and Rosecrans, which is very. It's a lot of factories and stuff. It's not residential. The residence is on El Segundo or on the other side of Rosecrans. So between that part, it's all like factories and stuff.
Wow.
And this was in the 70s, 80s.
Wow.
Yeah. So I made, and then I got home and nobody was there. So I didn't know if they saw me, so it was a fear that I could have had. So like I told you, we had a little conversation. What happened to me, so many things happened to me at such a young age. And I never had the opportunity to develop a fear because I was thrown back into it automatically. And I didn't realize that until I was older and had, been done therapy and stuff like that, that what that was exposure therapy. And I had it immediately. So I don't have fear. I should be afraid of literally, I should be afraid of people, cars, animals, water, all that. I should be afraid of all that, but I'm not.
But you're not. Could you tell our listeners about when you were on the boat? How old were you then?
So that was the summer. So we had a summer home in Arizona, and it's 200 degrees, and we live in LA. So I don't know why we had a summer home in Arizona. But anyway, we had to go to Arizona, and we went to Mexico when I was between 7 and 8 years old, summer, 8 and 9 years old, summer, for the whole summer. We went to all the different places. I've been everywhere in Mexico as a kid except for Cancun. So we were driving down to Arizona to meet my stepdad and my brother and my stepbrother, and we were going to go to Mexico from there. But I rode down with my stepfather's brother and brother-in-law, who was drunk, and he put the cruise control on 70 miles an hour and fell asleep behind the wheel. And we ran into a gas tanker at 70 miles an hour. Bam, not no break, no nothing, because he was asleep the whole time. I watched the whole thing to impact. Mind you, I always think, Mel, I was praying. I'm always praying, and then when I look back in retrospect, I was praying. I had no seatbelt on. I was literally sitting behind the driver because I'm trying to wake him up. And then when I look up, we're about to hit the truck. So I just put my head down, closed, and we go, it's the loudest noise I've probably ever heard in my life. One side of the car was all crinkled up and smashed up. The back windshield came, busted out, but only thing I had was some glass in my hair. I didn't get ejected from the car. I didn't get cut. I didn't get stuff. And then the kicker, I had to get back in that car because it still worked.
Oh, my goodness.
Hour drunk driver before we got to Arizona.
Oh, and the same guy was driving?
Yes.
Nobody else said, let me drive?
He was drunk too. They were both drunk.
Oh.
So, you know, back then everybody drank, drive, smoked in car, all that, you know, wasn't no big deal.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I could have drove, but they weren't gonna let me do it. You know what I mean? I should have drove,
Right.
had no
But you
accident.
should have.
But I
Yeah.
had to get back in that same chewed up car, and it drove for another hour to Arizona. So when we get to Arizona, we pull up in the house, and like my brother and them, they come like, what happened? And so I'm telling my stepfather what happened. He was really pissed off about it. So cut to, that's the beginning of the summer.
Okay.
So we finally get to Mexico, whatever. We're in Mazatlan, and my stepfather was very into fishing, like deep sea fishing and stuff. So we had a fishing boat, we had a speedboat, and we had like a little mini yacht. And so we had took the fishing boat
Y'all
out.
jamming. I love it with the summer home in the hot spot. And
then we go to the jungle for the summer, so to say.
Right.
So yeah.
Right.
So we go, we're in Mazatlan, Mexico, and we go fishing. And so back then in Mexico, there was no Coast Guard. And so we were like 20 miles off the shore. We were catching baby sharks. The sharks, you can see the fins of the sharks everywhere. All of a sudden, the engine catches on fire. So now the engine catches on fire. So we're trying to put the fire out 20 miles off the shore with sharks everywhere. And then the high tide came.
Oh my goodness.
So now we're literally,
oh my goodness,
waves, we're belling water out the boat. We're just flying. And there's other fishing boats out there, but there's no Coast Guard or nothing. And so we're just belling. I'm on the floor and again praying. I'm praying. And then my stepfather just pulls out a wad of money and he goes like this, holds the money up in the air, and then all these boats start coming.
Wow.
So, but mind you, then the tide kind of flails down. I pray. I'm like, Lord, if you get me off this water, I'll never do this again. I pass out. When I wake up, I can see the shore. So I was like, oh, hey, geez, I made it. Thank you. The next day, I had to get on another fishing boat, go back out.
Oh, did you apologize for lying?
To who?
To God. You said, dear Lord, if I get off.
I was forced. I did. They was not going to let me stay at the hotel, and I'm 7 by myself.
Yeah.
So I had no choice because I talked to my older brother about this maybe a few months ago. And I said, how come? He said, I didn't go on that boat the next day. I said, well, how come you didn't have to go on the boat? He said, because I was older. They weren't going to let you stay. I stayed and sat on the beach all day. I was like, well, why couldn't I stay and sit on the beach? Well, I got to go out and suffer.
On the beach with him.
Because I was wondering why. Yeah. So I had to go back the very next day, back out in the deep sea and go fishing.
Wow.
So that was probably the running into the gas tanker at 70 miles an hour, and the ocean thing was probably the scariest things because I saw no way out of that. Like I just knew I was dead.
It was over.
This is over. I'm gone. I'm about to drown. These sharks about to eat me. And I almost got my head bit off by a shark the year before. I forgot to mention that. So we went to the year before we went to Mexico for the whole summer. We was deep sea fishing again. And I get seasick. If it's not like a yacht, like a cruise ship or a speedboat, yes. I normally will get seasick. So I'm seasick, and I'm just, on the back of fishing boats, they're very low to the water because when you get them big-ass fish, you got to pull them onto the boat. So they're very low to the water, so you don't have a lot of pull to do. So I'm throwing up. I look up. Mind you, this is a 30-foot boat. I look up, and it's a shark looking at me, and I'm looking at it, and it's as long as the boat. And I'm stuck. Like, I'm literally, like, stuck. The fin goes by my forehead, and it swims off. I freak out, run down under the boat. I'm crying and screaming out, and my mother comes down. So all the shark had to do was open its mouth. Yeah. Catch me and keep going. Wow. And that's when I saw it. That's what I expected to happen. I'm looking at, and when I tell you that the shark was big as hell, like the boat was 30 feet and the shark was big as the boat. So, his head was bigger than the screen. Huge. And I'm looking at it, look at me. Wow. And I just because I was throwing it, my eyes was closed. And I had just happened to open my eyes at the time. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm gone. And then
I wonder, Harold, because you are special, obviously, and I wonder if, like, even the sharks that were swimming around the boat, if you felt like they were going to eat y'all, but maybe they were protecting you. And the shark that looked at you could have been protecting you too, because God is obviously, you're protected.
Yeah, that's what I have come to realize. And then I used to he's always told me stuff, but I didn't always want to listen. Just like he would tell me when things are going to happen or tell me about a certain person, how they are or things. And I want to, have an optimistic opinion about people and situations and things, but I would always see through people. And so it was hard. And so that's why it's really super hard for me to be phony, because I've been around so many people who are so phony and I see straight through them. And
Yeah.
I can't be a part of that. And then I think they have a problem with me because they know I see through them.
Yeah. And probably because you say whatever it is that you think.
Yeah, pretty much. I say what people think.
Yes, yes. Now
Most of the time.
let me ask you this: when God talks to you, how do you hear? Do you see words? Do you hear a voice? Is it a knowing?
It's a
You
voice.
hear, and
It's typically a voice, or it's just like, bing, I know something and I don't know how I know it. Like, I'll tell you a weird situation. One time I was downtown at the jewelry mart with a friend, and she was buying some jewelry or whatever, and so there was two guys talking, and she goes, what language is that? I said, that's Armenian. I said, but that guy's not Armenian. He's Turkish. And she looked at me like, yeah, whatever.
though.
And so the guy heard me say that. And so he came over. He said, we were speaking Armenian, but that's my cousin. I'm Turkish. That's my cousin. He's Armenian. I had no clue. I hadn't been to Turkey. I hadn't been to Armenia. I don't speak the language, but I just knew. And that came out of my mouth. And she was looking at me like, yeah, don't ask me how I know. I just know. I'm real good at at knowing people's nationalities and stuff. Like, I'm really good at figuring that out. It's weird. Like, I just know stuff and just know it. And I'd be right. I'd be right. So now, with all the stuff that has happened and all the things where I've been able to, be older and look back, when he tells me now, even if he say go, if I want to go right, he say go left, I just go left. And anytime I don't, it's an accident, it's a problem. It's something happens when I don't listen. Every single time. He tells me not to mess with a person, I keep messing with that person, something happens.
Something happens.
If he tells me not to go something and do something every time. So I just, when it comes to me now, since I'm super clear about where it's coming from, because I didn't always understand.
Yes.
And I just do it.
Now, sometimes, can you tell, like, for me, God speaks to me too, and through me. And I can tell when it's God talking, and then when it's your stuff. When he's done and I need to sit down.
When it's singing,
there was a time when he would be done and I would feel like, no, this is not ready to end. And then it just get to be a mess. Now
that's Satan trying to make you go against God, because they start talking. But I know Satan's voice and I know God's voice. They're a little different. They both kind of sound like me though.
So Harold, okay, so what are some of the other things that you've been able to tell?
When somebody's going to die.
Really?
And I hate that because there was a period in my life from like 2014, I think October 2014, I remember very clearly. My grandmother passed away. And I was in rehearsal for a show, in a dress rehearsal for the show. And I was the lead. So it was only one night only. And so, and she died. I got a call during the rehearsal and I had to go and rehearse. But not only could I not go to the funeral, because the one night only was the day of her show, her funeral, and it was in Oklahoma, and the show was here. So I was like, okay, so then after that, so I never had closure. That's to say that I never had closure.
And then after that, this is your other grandmother.
Yeah, I had several sets of my grandfather was Lincoln Taylor, but he's married like 7. He's like Elizabeth Taylor. He's had a lot of wives.
So when you're
I have several grandmas.
When you were 4 and your grandmother passed.
That was my great.
Oh, because your grandmother came running in, so that was her daughter.
That's my mother's mother.
Gotcha. Okay, finish telling me this. So go ahead.
So, what was I saying?
You said you did the show and you couldn't.
So I didn't get closure from that death. So after that, I'm gonna tell you, within the next 3 years, I had close to 100 deaths. Family, daddy, grandfather, friends, childhood friends, and it was all people that, because that's what I found. I try to tell the kids, don't be popular, because the more people you know, the more people die when you get old.
People gotta die.
I didn't realize how many people I really knew and how close I had been to so many people throughout my life. But then when they started passing, I didn't have closure for nobody's passing. So it turned in, like, I think after like maybe 40, I started just making it a number and blacking it out. But every person that passed away, if I went to see them before, God told me that they were going to pass.
And so wait, did you see them and hear, or did you hear and then?
When I left, when I would see them, I would go see them, and when I would leave, he would tell me they're not going to make it through the night, or they're going to pass away, blah, blah, blah. Like when I went to go see my grandfather, when I left him that night, when I got home, he said he's not going to make it through the night. And he died at 3 o'clock that morning.
Wow.
I was like, no, stop telling me this. I don't want to know this. But I don't know. I still haven't really kind of figured out. I mean, I kind of have an idea what that is, because I've been told, you've done the Yoruba, about the Yoruba religion and all that stuff. So, I'm supposed to be, according to my reading, I'm supposed to be a legba, which is the gatekeeper. So I don't know if that's a part of it or I'm not real sure. So once I would go see someone like one of my dads, we were actually not speaking when he passed away. And so when I got to he had gotten sick. So one time I got to the hospital, he was unconscious. So I leave the hospital because we're going to leave and come back.
Yes.
I was like, well, I need a drink. So that's where we was going. We was going to the bar and have a drink, and I was going to come back because I thought we was going to have an opportunity to have a conversation, but he was unresponsive. So I wasn't ready for that because we weren't really speaking. So we go to the bar. We're in the bar. 15 minutes, we get a call. He died. And I had to go back to the hotel. I had to go back to the hospital because I left my car there. So it was like that. It's like he waited for me to get there before he passed over. And so then I became the Grim Reaper. Nobody wanted me to go and see anybody that got sick again. They were like, no, such and such, but you can't go. So then I started feeling some kind of way about it because I was thinking, am I killing everybody? Because it was like, as soon as I would go see them, they would be out.
Yeah.
I stopped visiting people. And I also stopped going to services too. I don't go to funerals anymore. I will go to a celebration of life, but I don't do funeral. I don't do it.
Because it's not a sad thing, or because why?
Because people be tripping at funerals, and it gets real. And if you know the person, the inside stories of what's going on, what auntie did, and people coming over, can I get her medication? She just died yesterday. Like, come on, all kind of. I've had so many different horror stories with all these deaths and how people react to them. People, when you have nothing to do with the person, wants the house. You didn't take care of the person. What about the person who lives in the house been taken care of? They want them out. That don't make no sense to me. Like, I can't deal with the dysfunction of a funeral. You know what I mean? I need people to come with the celebrate. We're celebrating. We're not mourning. We're celebrating. We're not doing
We're celebrating. Harold, when you would go see these people that were sick or shut in, and then you walk out and you know that they were going to pass, before, did you pray for them?
I pray for everybody every day.
Because a gatekeeper, I'm not really sure in the Yoruba religion, that's what I was looking up, but they're taking me a bunch of places. A gatekeeper, is my understanding, is the person who helps usher them to the other side.
Or back.
They're
not coming yet. I'm supposed to be the spiritual whatever being that you have to go through to get to God. That's what the gatekeeper are.
Yeah. And so I wonder if there's something that are you, just in case this is your calling, are you doing that? Are you saying a prayer to help them travel over? Like, if I pass, pray for me.
See, what I do is I pray for everybody every single day. I pray for the world, people individually, every single day on my prayer. When I get on I'm always praying in my head a lot though. And if I go see somebody and they're, sick, whatever, of course I'm going to say some kind of thing, but I've never really said, I'll say, Lord, take this person over to you. I ain't never did none of that. No. Never thought about it. I didn't know I had that much power, so I don't.
But maybe you are doing something you don't know, because when you were talking at the beginning, I was thinking, I wonder what he did in his past life.
Oh, I was everything but black.
Everything but black.
I was a rulers. I was always a Caucasian person, so I did a lot of bad stuff. That's why.
Oh my goodness.
So this time I'm trying to get it right. I ain't trying to come back anymore. Because I've been told in readings, and if you believe in whatever, I've been told some of the things that I was in the past. So that's all in belief system and what you do. So a lot of I tried to follow that for a while, but it didn't work for me. Actually, I had to there's only one God.
Right.
In African religion, they got this God, that God, this, and that's fine if they believe that. But for me, I did all that. I did the studying. I did lighting the candles and burning all that stuff, and it didn't work for me. I just had to pick up my Bible and get on my knees, and that's what works for me.
Right.
So it is what it is.
Right. So have you had any near-death experiences recently?
Oh, God. Let's see. Recently? No, but I could tell you. No, I haven't had any near-death experiences recently. Probably the last one I had was maybe 10 or 15 years ago.
Wow.
And it was a group of friends. We were in a car and we were going to Magic Mountain. And so we're all talking and clowning, drinking. I'm not drinking, laughing and talking and stuff and, not paying attention. And something told me to look up. And as soon as I looked up, those big round steel containers that they put under the ground to tunnel stuff. Like they're
Oh,
huge.
yes, yes.
I look up, one is falling off of a big rig in front of us. And I'm like, hey, look. And so my friend looks who's driving. So now this big thing is coming at us. Mind you, we're doing speed limit. So we went like 65 miles an hour. And this big ass thing is rolling towards us. And we literally had to like maneuver, drive around. Had I not looked up in that second, that thing would have fell off and rolled over us.
Roll
And we would
right
have been dead.
over.
Because it was coming right at us.
Wow.
And we had to literally like go around.
Wow.
And so that was the last time I was almost, and that was with a group of people. And thank God, God said, look up. Because had I not, that's another thing that happened. He'll tell me so this is what happened. Either he'll tell me before something to happen and I can prevent it, or he'll tell me after what's going to happen. Okay, so for instance, like looking up, if I hadn't looked up in that moment, that would have happened. I've been in places where he'll be like, get out of here. And I tell my friends, we got to go. They're like, well, we got to go. It's like, well, just let's go. I don't know why he said get out. I just heard get out. So I grabbed, this was at a party actually. So at an all-star party.
Okay.
In Atlanta. And so we were doing a party. So we're in the room. There's two other friends of mine. So we're in this room. I said, let's go. Like we need to get out of here right now. They're like, why this? I said, just let's go. As soon as we walked out the door, as soon as we left out of that room, they started throwing glass up against the roof, up against the ceiling, and shattering down with glass coming down. And then Chicago and I think it was Philadelphia got into a big old brawl, and it's glass shattering all on and we got out there like as soon as we walked out, that happened. Now he told me to get out. We were unscathed, no problem. We didn't get into no scuffle or nothing. But it's stuff like that'll happen, and I'll be okay. I'm glad to listen, Or he'll be like, go left, and I'll go right, and then there's an accident, or or something, just stuff like that. And or like I said, if I go and see somebody or whatever, he'll tell me what the outcome is going to be from that. Wow. And I don't really like having that ability.
Yeah. Well,
I don't really want to know about when somebody's going to pass away. I don't really, I don't like. Is what it is.
I bet you could ask for it to be taken away.
But then who would I be? All my powers would be gone.
So then we need to embrace it and like it. That's what we need.
We're on the fence with it, but it is what it is. It is what it is. You know what I mean? I can't get rid of it. It's who I am. I can't ask for it to go because then who will I be? This is who I've always.
All I know is if I get nervous and I'm like, oh, is it my time? I'm going to invite you over for a luncheon.
Okay. And I'll let you know. No.
You'd be
I ain't never told nobody.
Really?
I've never told not one. Nope. I've told none of the people that I knew were going to pass. I never told them that they were going to pass, or I knew.
Now I wonder this though, Harold. I ain't trying to cause no problem, but he tells you things, and you say, "Wake up, wake up." He tells you things, wake up, wake up. He tells you things, look up, wake up, look up, wake up. He tells you about these people who are going to pass. Is it them getting another opportunity to get it together?
Well, most of the time they're sick already.
But it ain't over till it's over. We had this lady.
That's a good question because I never really thought about it like that because I'm busy thinking about me having to digest and deal with what's going on. And I don't know if it's for me to prepare so that I can keep moving, or I don't know. I'm not real clear. I haven't gotten that. That hasn't came clear to me exactly why that happened.
I think it's bigger than you, and I think it may be because you're a praying man. It may be an opportunity for you to tell them if you can figure out a non-direct Harold way kind of tell them, but it can help them embrace what's happening because you never know. Some of those souls might be afraid and wondering, or you might be, I don't know, in that moment, you might be able to say, listen, it's not over till it's over, but just in case, would you like to pray with me? Or, there are a lot of things that you can say when,
and that would have to be super, super uber tactful. Because how do you tell somebody, God told me you're going to die, but you want to pray with me right now? Because it might not happen.
I could do it. I could do it. But I wouldn't say God told me you're going to die. I would say, listen, I'm feeling like this could be an opportunity for you to leave that body and cross on over to the other side and be with the Father. This is something we pray about all the time in church. We want to go to heaven when we die. We want to go to heaven when we die. Is there anything that you'd like to pray with me right now, just in case? Because it's not over until God says it's over.
That's a
But
very tactful way to say it.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, because it really
And that
isn't.
really works for you, but that's not really my.
No, you would probably be
Like,
like, God told me you're gonna die,
good luck. I
and
hope you prayed up. Did you pay your bill? I mean, you got life insurance.
have you said,
I would be tacky with it, and it wouldn't work.
okay, yeah, so we can't do that. And then another
Until he
thing,
gives me those skills, he might give me those skills one day. Be like, hey, we might need to.
or
Out.
or well, I just say this. Keep doing like you're doing when you're in the room, or even when you walk out and you get it. If God drops something in your spirit, say it.
I do that.
Yeah.
At the moment, only thing I don't do is tell people they're going to die. But if something is like, let's go, let's move, let's do something ain't right. Because I also have a gift of knowing when people are pregnant.
Well, I hope you don't see no babies around me.
No,
Ain't nobody got time for that.
You're not pregnant right now. No,
Okay.
but I've told a lot of people that they were pregnant before they even knew. And I told people that were pregnant that was hiding.
See, that's how my BFF and I came BFFs, because I was like, you pregnant. How you know?
Oh,
that's how
nobody. Your BFF kept that on low.
She didn't tell nobody, but I told her. So that's how we became tight like that. Because I said, your friends don't see you. They're not looking at you. I saw it, but that's a whole nother story. But Harold, I thought you said, God talks to you, you do what he says, you listen, blah, 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 blah. I wondered because you said you haven't had one of those experiences in about 10 years. I wonder if you're not having them now because you are doing what you're told to do.
That could be a very good conclusion, because I used to happen a lot. I used to have a lot of drama and things, but I don't have that anymore like that.
Because you listen.
Because I grew up. And I learned and understood. I didn't know that I had any type of gift. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know that my light was the light that it was, and blah. I didn't know. And then when I had to take a real look, I figured out. And then when I look back in retro, I was always praying. I always kind of knew something. I always knew somebody was a weirdo, or I just always kind of knew stuff. So I embrace that now. Now I didn't understand what to do with it before, or even I didn't even like to. I didn't want to hear what it was saying a lot of times. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And probably something else happened because I didn't listen. Probably something else happened because I didn't listen. So when I started to listen, all of that kind of started to fade away. Like I have a very kind of peaceful life now. I don't deal with drama. I don't deal with other people's drama. I don't really care about what nobody got going on. If you ain't harming no kids or animals, I don't really care.
Yes. So, I think that's beautiful. And for all of you watching, it's not just a lesson for Harold. It's really a lesson for all of us, because
he speaks to us. It's just a matter of if we're listening.
All of us. Yes, to me too. He made me do this podcast. He was the one that said, do this podcast, and told me what to talk about on the podcast. Because like when I said I wanted to talk about near-death experiences, people were like, why you want to talk about something dark? You're so bright. You're so bright. But I wanted to. So guess what? I said, okay, let me find some people that haven't had near-death experiences. And I would reach out to people that I related to. And I would say, I'm doing this podcast. It's about near-death experiences, but I've decided to open it up. Would you be interested? And they said, sure. I had a near-death experience. That happened 3 times. 3 times.
See, it's so much. We think that we're the only ones, and oftentimes we're not. And he speaks to everybody. It's just a matter of if you're in tune and if you're willing to listen.
I think some parents, and I ain't trying to step on nobody's toes, but I think some parents beat it out their children, because there are things that children want to do, like jump off a mountain, not a mountain, but jump off something high, or go outside with no shoes on, or go around the block to see Miss Johnson.
Did all that. I got hit by a car 3 times in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Is your mother still alive?
I got hit by a car 3 times in 2 weeks when I was sick.
Is your mother still alive?
My mother died when I was 21, 22.
Okay.
And she was my best friend.
I was getting ready. Well, right now, if her spirit is present, I want to give her a hug because you got hit by a car 3 times. Mwah. And I
And
want to
whooping. I got a whooping for getting hit by the car 3 times.
well, now I'm laughing with her.
It was kind of funny, actually. 3 times I tore up 2 tricycles and a big wheel. And I wasn't hurt, but it was just, I just got hit by the car. And I was
Why
fine.
were you in the street?
Okay, so here's the deal. We had a driveway that was like a little hill. And so we would ride our bicycles and big wheels and all that stuff down real fast. But once you get down the hill, there's not very much left. You're in the street. You got the sidewalk, another little piece of grass, and then you're in the street. So if you're going really fast, you're going out into the street. And I was going really fast because I was super competitive. So I was going to be the fastest one. And
that's why you gotta be.
Yeah. And then my cousin had the same thing happen to her, but she ended up in a body cast for 3 years.
Wow. Was she on your driveway?
She on the same street. She was going to the ice cream truck and got hit by actually one of the teachers from our school ran her over in a big old Cadillac. I remember it. And she was in a body cast for 2, almost 3 years with the bar in the middle, like thing. She couldn't even walk or nothing. That could have easily been me.
You said 2, almost 3 years? Wow, Harold.
That could have been. I got hit 3 times and no scathe. She got hit 1 time and she's in fucked up for 3 years. Excuse me. For 3 years.
Wow.
So I'm saying stuff like, stuff that happens to me, it happens to other people. They're messed up. They're in the hospital. Their head is busted up. They're in stitches. All this stuff that happens, like they're messed up. And I'm flipped upside down on the freeway at 70 miles an hour on my way to work one day running late. Electric truck hit my car, knocked me into the center divider on the 5 freeway. So my car goes up the center divider. It flips to the side. So I'm in the car. It's on the side. It slides right into the next lane. And then that's when I realized I was like, I'm on the side. Then it rolls all the way upside. So now I'm like this and I can see all the tires of all the car. And then it just slid to the shoulder and stopped. No accident, didn't hurt nobody. But the kicker was somebody had just broken my car like a week before, and it cost me $360 to get this window fixed back in the day. And that's the only window that broke out the car.
Really?
I didn't have no shoes on. I got off the car. All I had was a little cut on my foot from the glass. That was it. Wow. And my car is upside down, it's smashed, and the wheels are just spinning. But what happened was weird. People were driving by because it's early in the morning, like morning traffic, and 2 demons went by in a big rig, and when I tell you they looked like Satan and his wife, and they were laughing, pointing and laughing.
Wow.
Like it was funny. And I'm like, wow. Yeah.
Wow.
And so I had to get the car towed because I was on my way to work. So I had to get the car towed and flipped, and I towed the car to my job so they could see why I was late. Like,
wow.
It was a trip.
When you say demons, are they people or do they look like
They looked like straight demons from a demonic movie.
Really? So when you look around, I had this man tell me one time that in church, he said I was his wife. He said in this one, I was supposed to be his. He said when he looked out over the congregation, he saw where the angels opened up or where they closed up. He said he could see demons. And over me, the angels opened up. And so he knew that I was for him. Do you see stuff like that?
No, not seeing like that. I usually feel something like when somebody's not right or
right.
I feel
it in their spirit.
I feel it in my spirit that they.
In your spirit.
Yeah.
But when the truck
I'm usually correct.
When the truck drove by, like I'm wondering if I looked at the truck, would I just see 2 people?
I don't know.
I'm wondering.
All I know is they were laughing. They looked like demons, and they were pointing and laughing at me, and my car is flipped upside down on the freeway. What's funny?
Right. What's funny?
Because there were other people who pulled over to see if I was okay. Like, are you okay? Because,
yeah.
I didn't stop traffic. I slowed traffic down because I slid onto the shoulder. Didn't block traffic or nothing. So some people pulled over, and some people kept going about their business, but I remember it was 2 white people in a big rig, and they were, and I was like, oh, wow.
Wow. Okay.
But I'm fine, so you can laugh all you want. I'm fine.
Right. You're good and divinely protected. It's so interesting. I just didn't know because in my mind, like a book that I love is Percy Jackson. I don't know if you've ever read Percy Jackson, but his mother was human, his father was Poseidon. And after he got a certain age, there were creatures that were out to get him because he was, a son of a god, but he didn't know it. And so I wondered if it looked like, like people, or if you saw horns, if they were a different color. But the way
No,
you're talking,
just
I think they would they just looked,
pasty, ugly white.
yeah, they just looked
with a nasty disposition.
Yeah, that's what it
What they
was.
look. They didn't look like something from a movie with horns and stuff like that.
I
Red.
got you. I got you. Well,
They were
on this
everyday.
show,
They were everyday demons. Not.
I got you. I got you. Well, have you had, just for our listeners' sake, since they're getting ready to meet Harold Bell, you've had great experiences with non-Black people too, right?
Oh, I grew up around non-Black.
Okay, I just wanted
my
to.
experiences are around non-Black people. I don't have a problem with non-Black at all.
That's what I want y'all to hear him say out of his
Not at
own
all.
mouth, so
I'm
y'all
one
would
of
know.
okay. I grew up.
Yeah.
Everybody. I never grew up around my people. I didn't go to school with my people. I knew them because they were in my family. I knew you people because. But
Yeah.
I've been in those environments where, like, no, not at all. Not a racist bone in my body.
So I want to make sure y'all got that. Yeah. So
These people just happen to be Caucasian who did that.
Yes, gotcha. There
But
we
some
go.
Black people could have rolled by and laughed.
And right, exactly. And we feel the same way. Y'all got that. Okay, I wanted to make sure. Harold, is there anything that you're doing right now that you would like to share with my people?
Well, I just finished doing an audiobook because I wrote a one-man show. And I wanted to, it was supposed to have been produced and go on tour and all this stuff, but you know how people in Hollywood is. I've had 3 people come to me talking about they want to produce it and they pull out and all that stuff. And so what it's basically the male version.
Ain't it disappointing when they pull out? No, go ahead.
Well, not always.
Go ahead. Okay.
So it kept coming around. So what it was a story. Because what happened was back in the day, I was auditioning a lot, and I was tired of doing the same monologue from Raisin in the Sun and everything that somebody had seen. So I was like, let me write something myself. So I've always wanted to do a one-man show, but then I was like, let me write this monologue for audition. And then it got too long to be a monologue, but it was too short to be a one-man show. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to erase it and make it a monologue. I'm just going to have to continue and make it a show. So I wrote it, shelf, never did nothing with it. And because it wasn't my story, it's basically the male version of Precious. It's about a boy who was abused by his father in every way. And he ends up killing him. So, so that's what it's about. And so it's not my story because my mother, once again, because I was almost molested too, but my mother told me to run and tell. So whenever...
Wait a minute. What happened?
With the molestation, which, well, I ran and told. So one of my uncle's friends was also, he was a creep. He was a weirdo. He lived in the neighborhood. He was doing a lot of stuff to the people in the neighborhood and stuff, but he was a good friend of my uncle. So when I was young, I used to always ask adults for money so I could go buy stuff, and I was a cute kid, so they would give it to me. So I had my 3 little cousins. I wanted to take them to get ice cream. So I asked him for some money. I said, hey, can I have $10? Mine just is the 70s. Can I have $10? He was like, for what? I said, because I'm going to get ice cream. He's like, he said, yeah, but you got take them home and then come back over and get the money. I was a little more advanced than that. So I thought that was weird. Why do I need to take them home if you're going to give me money for ice cream for all of us? That didn't make any sense. So I told him, and he lived like it was an alleyway that went from one street to the other street. There was an alley that went behind all the house. And so I walked down the alley and then I turned to go to where his house is. And he's standing there with his pants down with a penis I've never seen that big before since and said to me, what are you going to do for the money? I heard my mama's voice, run. So I took off running. And I ran and I told. And so he changes his clothes, comes over. I tell him, because my uncle wasn't home, I tell my auntie what happened. She's like, okay, you need to come back when my uncle, he needs to talk. So he comes back when my uncle comes home. This is a really messed up part about it. This is why I don't my uncle now. So they call me in the room. I'm 9. They call me in the room and my uncle says to me, tell me what you said happened. I said, I already told you. He said, well, he said you tried to molest him. And they start laughing. I said, oh, okay. I said, I'm going to call my mother and she's going to come and kill you. I went to call my mother. She was on her way to come and kill him and he was gone. She never found him. But after that, I said, I don't fuck with my uncle. Because if it had happened, you would have laughed at me and thought, yeah. Okay, but my mother, that's why whenever stuff got real, like she was like, run and tell. Because the molester gonna tell you, I'm gonna kill your mom, I'm gonna do this. My mother's like, tell, and I will take care of it. So that didn't happen because I ran and I told. But had I not ran, and who would I be now?
Yeah.
I might not even be here now. That
Did
would have
you
changed my whole person.
everything?
So
Did
that
you
was
include
a
this in
part.
your?
Huh?
I was wondering if you include.
That's not in the story, but it's a lot of people's story because they actually ended up. So what happened was I ended up doing it on Raising Wit. We did it as a stage reading because it was like, okay, you know how in reality they.
FYI, Raising Whitley is a show that Harold Bell was on with Kim Whitley and a whole bunch of people. Okay, Rodney
On the Oprah
Johnson.
Winfrey
Ben
Network.
Johnson. Yeah, go
So
ahead.
it's a reality show, and so in reality, beginning of the season, they always come to you and ask you what's going on in your life, like so because it's a TV show, you got to have storyline. So I told them I had written a one man show because I always wanted to do it. And it's like, okay, we could do it this season. I was like, cool. But what they did, they came to me 2 weeks before and said, hey, we're going to do your show next week. No. How are we gonna do a show that's never been put up? I haven't been in any rehearsal. There's no director. How's that gonna happen? I was like, no, I'm not trying to rush no one man show that I've never put up before in a week. I
Right.
said, so what I will do, I said we can do a stage reading because I don't even know if people are gonna like the show. Like I said, I wrote it and I put it up. I don't know if it's gonna be, anything's going. So anyway, we ended up doing a stage reading for it, and after that, I got a lot of men, people I know, and people who I don't know, fans and stuff, come to me, tell me that was their story, that happened to them.
Oh,
And I found out, because it didn't happen to me, I didn't know the results of that. There's post-traumatic stress disorder. There's so many different things that happen to kids that are molested that you don't even think about, and it ruins their lives.
Yeah.
And men, my experiences of men don't talk about that. Being molested, that's not a black, white, green, brown. Men
No.
don't talk about that, especially if they're molested by another man.
No.
So that's where all the behaviors come in. The down low, the having 50 million kids so you can prove you're a man. All the different stuff comes in.
Or being scared for their children to go to sleepover.
Yeah, all kind of. They project all kind of stuff, but it's real for them. Like I didn't have a clue. That you could get post-traumatic stress disorder from being molested. I had no clue.
Yeah.
Like I said, it didn't happen to me because I ran. Thank God I had the mother I had because I would have been molested. So after I did it, I got all this feedback from all these, and I saw, what so we were supposed to do it as a tour because I wanted to go to different cities, and I also wanted to have information. You guys need to talk to somebody. You ain't got to talk to me. You can you need to talk to somebody. You need to get it out your system. You need to put it out there. You need to work past it because it's nothing you need to hold on to because it's not your fault. You were a victim. And because you're a man and the ego and all that pride stuff is not going to help you heal. So I wanted to go and do a tour and do this thing. But the thing about it is it's not my story. So I wasn't as passionate about telling. So then after the third producer pulled out, I was like, you know what? I'm shelving this. It's not my story. Maybe when it's time or when I get me some real money, I can produce it, whatever. But right now, I'm just going to put it up. So what happened was I was like, you know what? I need to finish this as a complete project some kind of way, even if I can't perform it. So I said, I haven't seen any audio book play or one at all. So there's not even really a format for it because they have a format for audio.
Yes.
And stuff. So when I did mine, but my thing doesn't meet the format because mine is over music. It's a whole lot of things that I've done to it. So that's something I'm working on. I'm trying to get out now. I finished it. I did it, and then I had to go back and redo.
What's the name of it?
My life. No, it's called Run. I changed it. Was my life at first, and because it's not my life, I was like this. And then who named my show? Denise Dow.
Really?
Denise Dowse. I was having a conversation with her, and I told her the whole story, and she said the name of your show should be called Run, baby.
I love Denise.
I said you're right, because if I hadn't ran, it would have been my life. Because at first it was called My Life, so everyone was assuming it was my life, and I don't want to take, it wasn't my life. I don't want to put that out there like it happened to me because it didn't. I don't want to, try to make up something to be tragic so people, that's not me. So it wasn't my life, and I did want to change to Run is what it's called now. Because that was how I got away from Iran.
Wow.
So that's trying to get that out there somewhere. I'm also in the process of, I'm not sure if it's going to be a podcast or a radio show or both, or I'm just not sure, but I have an opportunity. So I'm working on trying to figure that out right now. And they also actually want me to have a co-host. I just don't know who I would want that to be.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
So I'm trying to figure out who that could be, who's somebody I could really work off of. You know what I mean?
I hope you do the podcast because it's on camera, and then they can always take the audio off and just use the audio. But if
so that's what I'm saying. I'm doing the research because I don't even listen to podcasts, so I don't know enough about it to really. I've done radio too, but I don't know enough about it to figure out what's going to be what. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm in the research process of figuring out what it's going to be, what the show's going to actually be. You know, because podcasts are usually about something. I want
Right.
to do a critic show. I want to critique
You would be
everything.
great at that.
That's what I want to do. Critic show. I want to critique everything and everybody, not just movies, not just. I want to do restaurants, people,
Oh my
furniture.
gosh.
You know, all
You would
kind of
be
stuff. That's
fantastic.
that's what I want to make it. But as a podcast, I say you got to have it in some type of format where it's about a certain. You know, so I'm trying to figure out how I can work that.
Yeah.
So it's
I
in a
like that.
little process of trying to figure it all out.
So when you figure it all out, because our time is up, where can my people go to find you?
At Being Harold Bell on Instagram and Twitter, and just Harold Bell on Facebook.
So that's BeingHaroldBell
Yes,
on
Being Harold
Instagram
Bell.
and on X.
Twitter. Yeah, new Twitter. Yeah.
Okay. I love you, Harold. I'm so glad you came on.
I'm glad you have a show that I could come on. I ain't did nothing in so long. I'm still in the business. This strike is killing us. Oh, I did do a Christmas movie.
But you know what I'm really excited about with the strike is, like I said, God talks to me. So for years, God has been saying, Tangie, write a book. Tangie, do a podcast. Tangie, write a book. Tangie, do your one-woman show, which I did, but I didn't do it.
I was there.
Yes. So I wrote the book. I'm doing the podcast. But wait a minute. God kept telling me, I would start writing, then I would book a job, and then I would stop. And then the job would fade out. I would run out of money, and then I'll go back to write. And then I'd book a job, and then I'd stop. And then I'd run out of money, and then I'd write. You know, it kept going like that. So finally, God said, okay, so let's cut these residuals down. You used to getting residuals. I'm going to do this, all that we're complaining about right now. Netflix, all those, they don't play residuals like we used to. So they fade the residuals out. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to start on my podcast. I think I did maybe 3. I was doing them here and there, not really working hard, but enjoying it when I did it. And then he said, well, first he brought me Angel. Angel was really an angel. Y'all can't see Angel, but Angel's my producer because I couldn't figure out how to edit. And so I was like, I put out a post and I was like, anybody know how to use this? And a lot of people responded. But her light just said, whoosh. So God was like, I'm bringing you somebody to help you. And that helped a lot. And then we went on strike where it was like, okay, hunker down and do all the stuff I've been telling you to do.
Well, I'm in the sense that because I'm not 100% injured, I do have my own business. I'm a professional organizer. So I organize people, homes, life coaches.
So that's good.
I do relocations and also do interior decorating. So that has actually been able to maintain me right now. But now it's slowed down because nobody's been working for a long time.
Nobody's working.
So that's even slowing down. But at least I have something else I can go and, I feel bad for the people who are 100% industry. They didn't have anything else going because they're broke right now.
They're broke.
Real broke.
They're broke.
So bad for that. But I did do, also I have a Christmas movie coming. I did a Christmas movie this year.
And what's the name of it?
It's called The Intern. It's probably going to be on Lifetime.
Oh, good. Lifetime gives residuals. Yay! Like they haven't changed.
I think it's Lifetime. I'm not sure because it's not completed yet. But yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Harold. I'm excited about all that God is doing in your life, and I'm excited about whatever else is coming because I know you're listening, and there's a reason that he has protected you. So I can't wait. I can't wait to see what it is. Your book, to hear it on.
That's so funny because I'm supposed to write my book too, and I've been putting it off. So, and these were stories that they were going to be in my book. I never told these stories. I mean, I've told my friends these stories, but there's so many people that don't know any of this about at all.
There we go. So now, Harold, I got chills. Now, Harold, right now, I got chills. So that's what all this was about. That's what you're supposed to do. And you should start today.
I should.
That's what you're supposed to do. And that's why all this happened. And y'all heard it here first.
Okay. Gonna be a bestseller one day.
Yes. So we'll make sure you get a copy of this too, because this will help you, but that's why. And as you write, because, okay, I can't keep going. I know I got to stop. But as I'm doing this show, I'm getting, I've been able, like you saw my one woman show, it stopped. But I have recently reached out to Tanika and said, it's not finished, because I have been having other experiences, so many experiences
So
with.
you're going to add to it, or you're going to
Oh,
just train?
well, what we're saying is, hopefully she'll take that footage, because she has it, and make it into a film. And then she interviewed me, and I can add more things, because I feel like the early part of my life, I was just hopping out, kind of flying, floating through life.
Well, you know, I met you when you got off the boat.
Right. Yes.
The
Yes.
day after you got off the boat, we were doing. It wasn't a hell to play. It was.
Hell wouldn't take me, so I came to LA.
I did
Hell
so
would.
many hell
Damon
plays back in
Lamont.
the day. I did so
Damon
many hell
Lamont.
plays back in the day.
Yes, hell wouldn't take me, so I came to LA. That was my very first play here. And I was just like, yes, ready, whoa, wow.
I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and I was like, okay, girl, whatever. Because I was from LA, jaded. We've been in theater. You ain't getting nothing done in theater in LA, girl. Get over it, whatever. And then all of a sudden, on everything, I said, okay. She said she did exactly what she said she was gonna do, and I'm back.
Yes, because I felt like I came here to claim my blessings. God told me to come.
You was her. You was her.
So I was her. But I feel like from when my mother passed 7 years ago, that was that year I booked 2 shows, one on NBC and one on, I don't know, a pilot on some network. And then I didn't book any, I did, I've done some stuff, but these networks are different. And so
there's so many of them.
And there's so many, you can't find them. So I feel like it's been like I've been made over. That's what I feel. And like now I'm being put together brick by brick, but I'm stronger. I'm more grounded, more sturdy. And it's the spiritual and the physical, the human part of me is, because you remember I said I thought I was an angel here to bless and save the world. Mm-hmm. I still might be. But at this moment, I am a human allowing myself to experience all human emotions.
Angel-like qualities.
Yes, but I finally realized, though, from my last guest, Mama Luna, she made me see how divine and how much a gift it is to be human, and how through my mother, how I have to embrace all of that. I haven't been. I like to be happy, but I have to allow myself to feel all those human things and be sad. Like you talked about demons. I don't even believe in demons and evil. I don't even acknowledge that, because I'm like, if God is everywhere evenly present, then how can there be anything that isn't? But I'm trying to be human and say, if I'm scared, I'm scared. But for me, I'll go right past the scared and start doing some kind of, I'm trying to embrace it, because I think not feeling it, maybe I was holding on to something, and I got to let that out so that I can fly,
I had to go to therapy. I had to go to grief therapy because I had started blocking everything out, and I had become numb, and I wasn't tripping. I was just living my life regular, like nothing has ever happened, and I never had closure on so many deaths. And so I took myself to therapy. In the last session, I went to pick up my grandfather. I would take him every week. I would take him to lunch, and we would hang out and stuff. And he only wanted me to take him to his doctor's appointment. So I told him I had a therapy session. He was like, "Oh, I'll go with you. Come get me." I was like, "Okay." So I go and pick him up. It's my last therapy session. I go to the therapy session. He died the next week after therapy was complete. So there's like, okay, so what happened for me? But it's hard. This business is a business that you got to really be. And for me, all the people that I wanted to do anything for.
Oh my gosh, talk about it. Yeah. Doesn't that change so much?
It changes everything, because ain't nobody on the earth really left that I really want to. I mean, I have Josh Hart.
Right, but I know.
He's okay. You know what I mean? He's okay.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's nobody that I'm working for. I don't give a shit if anybody's proud of me. I don't care. Other people I did it for is not. So I have to put in those extra efforts to make stuff happen, because now it's like, who am I doing it for? You know what I mean? And so I have to make it for me.
Yeah.
So that's another motivation it's hard to come up when you don't have that all gone.
Because we all want to buy them a house. Yeah. Well, I can tell you this. Your story, when you write it, it's a beautiful story. And it blessed me, because it's a reminder to really listen. Like I know so many people, and so many people that are in marriages that are so depressed, but they're staying
unhappy.
because it's
Yeah.
the right thing to do, not
Or they think
listening.
it's the right, and they're just ruining their lives and their kids' lives if they have them. Because you
Because
just
but the key though, Harold, is they're not listening. God is talking to them, but they're so busy trying to be
keep
right
the
that
lifestyle,
they're
keep
not
the
listening
image.
to that voice inside. Yeah. And so your story really, really pushes that. I mean,
You
and then
gotta
like
listen.
for
If you
me,
got that power, if you
even
have any of those kind of power, you have to listen.
you
It's
gotta
not
live,
not a
but
job.
without the power too. Like my children's father used to sit on the porch with the kids, and the cars would come by, and he would have them guess what color car it was going to be. Not because they had any kind of special powers, although of course, I believe my kids are special.
Yeah.
But it did train them to listen, and I let them make mistakes. I let them fall down. I let them walk on the counter and crawl in the refrigerator and the dishwasher and all
So they
kind of
come
things,
here.
so they could learn to listen to that voice inside. So hopefully through your story, that's one of the things that parents will get, to allow your children to listen. Don't be so busy trying to keep them safe, because we don't know why that little soul was here. And I have learned through all of my experiences that there are no right or wrong. It just is. Everything has a purpose. There's a blessing to it all. Sometimes we just got to look a little hard and think outside the box. And that's what my book is about.
Okay. And
Because
my part of my industry is children. So I have a nonprofit. This is like our 15th year. It's called Youth Esteem Corp, and we basically do, for the last 15 years, we've been doing backpack school supply giveaway because we think it's important for them to have all the things that they need for school. But what we did was I went a step further, because the very first one we did, I didn't like it, because we had the kids in line and we just handing them backpacks full of stuff that, do they want this backpack? Do they need what's in here? I didn't like that, right? So afterwards, my sister is one of the founders, and I was having a conversation. I said, I don't like the way that this is going. I said, because kids are already, they're already underserviced. They're already poor. Every time they got to go get in the line, they don't get what they want. They just give them what somebody, and who wants a handout? You know what I mean? I said, we're going to change this to gifting suite. So what we did, we made it like a gifting suite. We had all the different types of bags, the animal ones, the this, that, the girl bags, the this, that, all the different supplies, the big pencil box, whatever. And we found out what things they actually needed for their grades, so that we're not giving senior crayons. What are you gonna do with crayons?
right,
You know what I mean?
right.
And we just let them pick everything they want. So when they come in, they're like, you can have whatever you want. Pick, you want that one? You can have that one.
Oh,
Well, I
that's
changed the
nice.
experience of it because I wanted them to feel like they were shopping. Because
Yeah,
most kids get to go,
yes,
kids who are privileged get to go and pick their backpack out the store. They get to go pick the
yes.
school supplies they want. So we changed to that. And then we also do a toy drive. And I would like the way that go. We don't unwrap toys. So we wrap all of our toys. Every single toy that we give out, we wrap. So when you get home, you have some kind of surprise on Christmas, because you're not supposed to know this is a Barbie doll, because we just handed
Yes,
it. You know what I mean? So we
yes.
go a little extra further for their experiences.
That's
Because
nice.
it's important to me. Children and animals are my things. Adults, I don't really care about
Well, love me.
you. Love you. I
Yeah.
mean, I got the ones I got, but everybody, I don't really
Okay,
care.
the rest of them. Okay.
I ain't trying to help no more adults, okay? The babies and the animals.
But we'll work and make sure we help ourselves, because we're listening to that still small voice inside. Right, people?
Yes.
I love you, Harold.
Love you too.
Thank you for coming on.
Too.
Yes,
Okay.
I will. Mwah.
Thank
Congratulations
you.
in advance. Huh?
I'm saying
I said
thank you.
congratulations in advance.
I said thank you. And
To both of us, because we're going to do what that voice is telling us to do. And I think today we should both do something different. I don't know what that is, but every day you kind of do the same. I think today,
well, that's something I've also been doing, is something different, because what I do, I try to get my exercise. I try to go do it in different places. Like I'll go to Virginia Beach, I'll go to Santa Monica. I might go to the mall and get my steps, just walk around the mall, or go to the Grove, or go to the park, or like I try to put myself in different environments so I don't get burnt out. Because I hate going to the gym and same thing. And then with all the diseases, everybody gets sick at the gym now. So I was like, I don't want to do the gym too much. So I've been finding my way around. I might go skating at this park, or I might go to this beach, or I might, just finding my way around the city, going back into places I hadn't been in a while to see what it's like, what's still open, what's not open,
because you
So
get
I've
to
been trying
see LA and you get to work out. But when I
to.
say different, I mean one thing that's moving us toward the goal that God has put on our heart, not in our physicality. I mean, like your book or your one man show, which your book will probably be a one man show.
Oh, it's gonna be a movie,
I knew it was going to be
and I'm
something,
gonna play myself
and you're going to play, but not your little
and
you.
sit on my knees.
Right.
Only
Mwah.
thing gonna happen is I'm gonna get taller.
Oh, goodness. Started with your hair out, and as you get older, you can pull a
Yeah,
little bit
and
more
put
out.
the real receding hairline back.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Harold, thank you for coming on.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you very much.
I appreciate you too. Thank you, Angel.